Just follow orders.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Baddest Batch podcast with myself, TV and Clint. How are you, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
Doing amazing. I have the energy.
What's happening, Star Wars Unlimited fans?
In today's episode, we're gonna discuss a little bit about last weekend because the three of us went to CanCon and SWUcon. Then we'll look a little bit at some of the latest PQ results, Melbourne, Dunedin, New York, things like that. And lastly, we'll do some spoilers. Without further ado, let's begin with weekend at CanCon and SWUcon. TV, you wanna get going?
You're gonna start with me? All right. No, I had a great weekend. Weekend away with the boys, playing some SWU. It was a good time. So CanCon is a national convention held in Canberra. All things gaming, tabletop gaming, TCGs, all your nerddoms, right? Like pop culture, board gaming. It's got everything. Wargaming, miniatures, everything. It's been going on for a while. This is the first one I've been to in a couple of years. The last one I went to, I played Bolt Action at. So this was a good opportunity to get back into it and throw some cards with you legends. Mm-hmm. And SWUcon was another event run by Small Worlds Cafe in Canberra, which was dedicated to SWU, although they also had Kings of War at the same location, which was pretty cool to see. Had some really good tables there.
Mm-hmm. So, say the three of us, well, actually, no. TV went up a bit earlier. He went down the Friday night because there were some events at the SWUcon on Saturday morning. Constructed, was it?
Yeah. It was a small warm-up event for the main event for Sunday, so it was good.
And then Clint and I drove the Saturday morning to attend the main CanCon event, which was constructed on the Saturday. 2 p.m. So we arrived a bit early, which was good because it gave us an opportunity to just roam through the board game sections. Maybe it would have been better for our wallets if we didn't.
It was a cute little drive down as well.
It was a cute drive. And then there was a bunch of board games for sale, some old games that we hadn't seen in a while, some good prices. So that was fun.
Did you buy any board games, Tebow?
I did not actually. I think I'm the only one of the group that didn't buy anything. I bought a few boosters at the small.
Tangent for a second. Played my first game of Dune Imperium.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
It's my new favorite game.
Okay, talk about this.
So good.
We'll talk about this. And then Saturday 2 p.m. kickoff. I think it started pretty on time. The CanCon event. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. How many players was there? 22,
24.
24, something like that. It was a good turnout.
I think.
It's pretty much all Sydney people though. For the most part,
there's a few locals, but yes,
it was a few locals. But that event, that event had a lot of Sydney people. So we went there for constructed. There wasn't too many details regarding the event in terms of the structure, in terms of it was going to be best of 3, best of 1, how many rounds of Swiss and things like that. So they kind of told us on the day. Originally, the pricing was going to be 12 boosters of Spark, is what we went there for. For top pricing, there was meant to be additional pricing. And then when we got there right before start, they told us that it was going to be a showdown, which I don't think that information was provided beforehand, if I'm correct. We weren't told that it was going to be a showdown, right? Yeah. So we found out it was going to be a showdown.
Not much information was shared.
Not at all. About the CanCon event. But look, they kind of told us it was going to be best of 1, so we went with that. Some of us had decided to run some more fun decks. Some of us had decided to play a bit more seriously. Myself played both Gideon, Blue. TV, you ran Krennic, ECL, and Clint played Sabine, ECL.
Sorry, I was going to say, did you just pause to think about it? Because
no, it was.
It should just be reflex now. Let's be honest.
It should be. It is. Let's be real.
But I did also have.
You did bring Gar. You didn't play, but you didn't bring him. So look,
yes, didn't play him all weekend, but brought him.
Brought him.
It's the thought that counts. That's what I tell my girlfriend all the time.
It's hard to manage.
Not. Just play it.
Clint, how was your CanCon tournament?
CanCon. Well, Sabine did Sabine things. Apart when Sabine doesn't do Sabine things and she doesn't draw a turn one play.
Yep.
And then you just sometimes don't win. So it's very tough with best of one forms. I actually find Sabine really difficult to play in a best of one format. Because generally your sideboard is very skewed towards, because your matchups are always kind of like a 50-50 into everything. Your sideboard's there to kind of be able to gain some percentages into those matchups. So sometimes if you get a little bit of a slow start, you can recover, and I almost did recover in the game that I lost. It can claw its way back very, very easy. But you need to draw into your wreckers and that to claw those games back, and sometimes you just can't.
You lost to Ray Yellow, correct?
I lost to Ray Yellow. Nathan's deck, and there was a decision point there where I either just played a Darksaber on Sabine with him holding up a resource going, oh, does he have Confiscate? Or I played it a little bit safer and just played a K2 instead. In reality, in hindsight, I probably should have just played the Darksaber and gone, hey, I was behind anyway, so you either blow me out with Confiscate and I'm losing a game I was already losing and behind in, or I just win that game on the spot by hedging into the Darksaber, which in hindsight should just hedge into the Darksaber, but cool, whatever.
So 3-1, top four.
Top four.
Did you finish out of the Swiss yet?
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Swiss and the top card a little bit, but TV, how'd you go in the end?
I don't actually know my placings. I didn't go very well. Considering
top
it was
8?
No.
I think
It's a deck that I built 2 days. It's a deck I built 2 days prior to the event, and in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have run it for a best of one.
No. Why not?
Because I had Kylo there.
Yeah, we took it more casually though. Like that was the idea behind it. I went 4-0, so I finished top with the Swiss. I played Moth Blue. I played two brothers, guys from the Central Coast. My first 2 games, which was really fun to play against them. Then I played Scott and then Nathan after he beat Clint. 4-0, and then we decided to call it after the Swiss. Basically, the prizing ended up being a box of shadows, which were like big meh. It wasn't Spark, and we're like, look, we can play another 3 rounds of best of one because he was going to be best of one again for the top cut, or we can just split the box and just go to
get
Capital
the
Blue
hell out
and
of
have some
there.
burgers. So look, about 6 of us from the top cut were happy with splitting. 2 of them kind of wanted to play, but we discussed it a little bit, and I was at the top, so box was mine in a way, so I was super happy to split. We all split some boosters, got our promos, most of our showdown promos, and we got the hell out of it.
It was very hot and stuffy in that room as well.
Oh yes,
there was no air conditioning. This continues on into a very long discussion about the organization of CanCon for SWU in general. And this is a long-going discussion from a couple of months ago where nothing was organized, and that's where SWUcon was kind of born from last minute.
Yep.
And Good Games really didn't do anything about Star Wars Unlimited for the event, and honestly, the whole thing just felt like a fucking afterthought. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I 100% agree. Props to the young woman who ran it for us, though. Did actually run it quite well. Was really on the spot in terms of pairings, matching us up. I thought it was really good. But I think overall, that upper side of things, we felt like an afterthought.
Yeah.
And it was really disappointing to see, prizes, but based on attendance was in the ticket things. And it's like, okay, well, you've got 24 people here, and you've got a box of shadows and a showdown kit.
We got a little bit of extra Twilight boosters, but that was it. I think.
Well, that's from the showdown kit.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. There was nothing. There was no deck boxes. We were told that they were provided with some extra pricing. Now, where that extra pricing went, we're not really sure. We had a bit of an
what
issue
the
with
extra prizing was.
I think let's also call out the issue with your promos, Tebow, which was pretty abysmal.
Pretty weird.
From
It was pretty weird.
Organisers.
So I came first, and it's not my first showdown that I win, so I know what I'm supposed to get from a promo card point of view. And I was given my participation Sauvage, as well as my champion Gore and my top 4 Gore, I believe. And so I look at it and I'm like, well, I'm missing 2 cards. I'm missing my top 8 and my finalist. So I kind of checked with the rest of the players. I think the rest of the players all had their cards. So I went and spoke to that young woman that TV is talking about, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really know about it," which is fair. Like if you're not into SWU, you don't really know. She said, "Look, I don't really know. Let me have a look at the kit." So she had a box behind her with some pricing and stuff like that, and she finds my top 8. And I was like, okay, this is great, but I'm missing my finalist one. She said, look, I really don't know about that. Let me check with my manager. And she went and got another younger gentleman who got a deck box out of his backpack where there was a few cards, and he flickered through that dozen of cards. He was like, oh, yep, it's right here. He must have slid there in his personal deck box. So it was a bit odd. Like I'm not the only witness. Like Scott was there. Scott wasn't happy about it as well. It was just weird. It was just sour. I'm like, what are you going to do with a finalist card? It's worth $50. Just give it to us. So yeah, that was really odd. And again, I'm an experienced SWU player, so I know what I'm supposed to get. But a more casual player wouldn't know that he's meant to have all 4 cards. So that was a bit weird. So this whole event was a bit odd, especially because there was a lot of room, a lot of spare tables in the wargaming area where people were just playing casual Wingspan and other games and things like that. And we were just like, well, you can just put SWU there. It would have been amazing. Next to the Legion and the Shadow Point, it would have been perfect.
From a exposure point of view as well, there were lots of people just walking around in that big play area below where we played, looking at games. We went afterwards and checked out Shatterpoint games. We checked out Marvel Crisis Protocol games. And then just across from there, as you said, Tebow, there were people just sitting there playing Uno. Like, why could we not have gotten a space down there where people walk around going, hey, look, what's this awesome Star Wars card game that you're playing? How do we get involved? What are you doing there? Can you teach us to play or something?
We weren't even with the other TCGs. Like, the other TCGs were in a completely separate air-conditioned room. Not bitter about the air-conditioning
Magic
at
was,
all,
I don't know about Lorcana.
I think Lorcana was being held in the same room.
They were across from us.
They were across from us.
Yeah.
So at least we're on equal pegging with Lorcana.
Before we talk about SWUcon, because this is, I hope, is the last time we actually talk about CanCon, because I probably won't go back for SWU.
If we can help with the organization,
unless it's the Baddest Batch running CanCon.
Look, we're available, CanCon. Just saying.
Good Games will send you an invoice.
The sealed event also, just to add to the shambles, they
cancelled.
Lost the product and then had to cancel the event.
Lost it in that guy's backpack.
They
allegedly.
They also sold a lot of boxes that day, so maybe
was that I think someone said that were Twilight boxes for $100,
$100 or something like that.
I mean, it just I think, Clint, you were right. Like, it sucks for the exposure to the game. Like, we're trying to build a community here and grow the game so that it keeps going on. But yeah, just didn't seem that GG's was or Good Games was super
Conspiracy hat time.
Get my tinfoil. Let's go.
I honestly think Good Games is trying to tank this game. Like, they're just shitty that they didn't get the distribution rights, and this is just their way of going, yeah, we don't care about this game. We're going to make this game look bad, so you guys can have your corner in the unair-conditioned room, and, it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy for Good Games and Let's Play games, and they'll just all pat themselves on the back going, oh, look at us, we did a great job at tanking this game. And, there we go. There's my little tinfoil hat.
Everyone, this is the newest segment of the Baddest Batch podcast, Clint's Conspiracies.
Moving forward, we'll try to make sure we have one an episode. But on the bright side, on a bright note, SWUcon was really good. So, constructed event on Saturday, 42 players, I'm pretty sure 42, 41. We all played, constructed, best of 3, real tournament. I played Anakin Blue, TV replayed Krennic ECL, and Clint played Sabine.
Shocking.
So, man, really good event. I think Clint's sharing a little bit of the meta.
Wrong screen.
I'll talk about my experience first real quick. We won't spend too much time on that. But well-ran event. The judges were good. I went 4-2, made top 8, I ended up 7th. The only two guys I lost to were Kylo, Tarkentown, and a Bosk Green, which were both top 4. I unfortunately didn't play my top 8 match just because I felt like the pricing from top 8 to top 4 wasn't what I was looking for, and I was super happy with my top 8 pricing. And Clint and I had to drive back that night. It was already about 5:30. We had to hit the road, so I did.
Someone opened you a pretty good pack too, I think, as well,
yes,
right?
I did hit a showcase Padme, which is probably somewhere there, but I hit a showcase Padme on one of my 6 packs that TV opened for me. So pretty happy with the reward, really happy with my performance. And it was a really good tournament, and congrats again to the other guys of the top 8 that played really, really amazing.
You guys, so let's talk about this list breakdown. It's a very like widespread, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we look at the numbers, like obviously, you got your staples that we thought we'd see a bit towards the top. The Han 1 yellow number, I think, is incorrect because I'm pretty sure there was at least...
There probably
3.
is. We have some
2,
lists missing. I would say there's probably 2, at least.
There's definitely... There's 3. I know there's at least 3 because I versed 2 of them and I found out there was another one that I didn't play against.
Okay.
So my first 2 rounds was Han yellow.
Well, I would have played it. I would have played against the one that you didn't play against.
No, you played against the one that beat me.
Oh, yes. You did play him. Yeah. You played Charles.
Yes.
That guy's a fucking legend.
Yes.
He is so good.
Cool.
Good dude to chat to, and a really good Han 1 yellow pilot.
Yeah.
I managed to steal 1 game against him, and man, that was a tough slog.
You did better than me. Like, I went 0-2 against him, but both games were like down to either being 1 action behind or we're both in top deck mode, trying to whoever pulled their out first won, basically.
Yeah, wild. Really good player. Also made the he was the guy who made the folders.
Yeah.
With the characters on the front. I don't have mine handy to show, but I've got one. It's beautiful.
But good variety of decks. Some really good pilots in the top 8, man. Where did I play? Iden Blue was Scott. Quinlan Tarkentown was Mark. Boss Green. CJ, I believe, who also placed really well at... I think he made top 4 at the last Melbourne PQ. The one from set 2. Han 1, Han 2 Blue. So none of us played against the Han 2 Blue, but he went on to win the whole thing.
Yeah,
he won, right. He played against Mark's Quinlan Tarkentown in the final. Django Tarkentown was James. Kylo Tarkentown was Timothy's brother-in-law, I believe, which was a younger player. Well, I think he hasn't been playing for too long, but he played at Onyx, the last Onyx event, I know, and he was really good. He was really impressive. And the Anakin Blue was me. But yeah, a bit of everything. Luke Green, some massage, Iden Blue, Iden Green, even an LSA. That was Wookie car playing, and yeah, a bit of everything. It was good variety.
So I guess the interesting thing about the event, the SWUcon event, is this is giving us a little bit of an idea of what the Sydney PQ potentially could look like as well, because a lot of players that were at SWUcon will most likely be coming up for the Baddest Batch 2K, as well as participating in the Sydney PQ. So it's very tough to actually prepare or hedge your deck one way or the other. I mean, if you're going to hedge one way, you're probably wanting to hedge against Tarkentown decks for the most part. But who knows? There might be some people that have decided to start picking up a Han 1 and getting the reps in before the PQ in a couple of weeks as well. And that's not to say there's also a couple of PQs coming up next weekend, the Perth PQ and the Brisbane PQ, which may skew results even again, like people looking at those results and going, okay, maybe this performed well, maybe we should be leaning that way or preparing for that as well.
Yeah.
I think the Perth one will be interesting because Clint, you were talking about earlier. They just had their showdown recently, and Sabine ECL took it out.
I've got the little
Sabine.
I've got the little picture here.
So 3 Sabines in the top 8.
That's my boy Luke Williams, a fellow Sabine player. He's reached legendary status with Sabine ECL. Even regularly takes out the 2 times Star Wars Destiny national champion Blake Moody on Han Yellow. Blake's going to love me saying that. He hates it when I say that every time.
I played him last night.
You did,
online.
yes.
It was a great match with my Anakin. It was really, really good match.
So they've got what I would say is if you're going over to the Perth PQ, be very, very prepared because they are very, very competitive over there. I would almost say that they are probably one of the most competitive metas in Australia. Like
we're about to find out.
They go hard.
Next weekend.
You can watch all the action at the Baddest Batch channel on Twitch this weekend. Next weekend,
because this weekend we're at a showdown. But next weekend, Perth PQ will be streamed on the Twitch channel, and obviously games will be reposted bit by bit on the YouTube, just like we did for Melbourne. Anything else to add about SWUcon, gentlemen?
Yes, just that the last day after the main premiere event was a Chaos Sealed event, which was a lot of fun. Scotty and I went, and Scotty went undefeated at the Sealed event, which means he picked up for the weekend the SWUcon Grand Champion mat with some awesome art done by Rob from the Onyx Squadron, which is like it's got a maul facing a Vader. So if anyone's seen the Onyx event, a maul facing an Obi-Wan, thank you, catch me there. Just some great art. It's a sick mat. They always are when they're done by Rob. But no, it was a great event. It was a great weekend. The guys put on a good show. Always have a good time.
Met some new people. I met a lot of people that watch the Baddest Batch stuff as well. Always stream stuff like that. So it was good to converse with those people, get feedback, and things like that. So that was awesome.
Just jam some games, right? Like I said, I built that Krennic deck 2 days before CanCon. Played like 4 games on Carabas, and it was so much fun. Just having a blast playing a deck that I've never played before. Got to use the showcase for it, which was lovely because it's a beautiful showcase. And I got to use ECL, which I've never really done. So I can see
once you've gone ECL, you'll never go back?
Sure. I think I will, but we'll...
I know ECL's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right, so that's it for SWUcon, CanCon. Lovely weekend with the lads, and we will potentially do it again, or potentially do something very similar very soon.
I do just want to lastly shout out everyone that I did play at SWUcon. All the games were super fun, super competitive. I learned a lot that day of, a lot about my deck and a lot about other decks and, how to play into them and learning lines as I was going. Like, I've played hundreds of games with Sabine, but I'm always learning new stuff and storing stuff away in the memory bank. What I will say, though, is that I got absolutely run through by a boss screen. And
was it CJ?
Nah, it wasn't CJ. It was
That's the other one.
Dude, I can't remember your name. You just messaged me before as well. Vincent, I think. Was it Vincent?
Oh, yes, in the community chat, yeah.
Was it Vincent?
I think so, yeah.
I'm terrible with names. Sorry, dude.
I'm worse, so never going to judge.
But he absolutely ran through me with that boss screen. And I'd just come off that game with Charles, doing that. Like, that was the longest game of the day, was that one with Charles, those 2 games. That we went to like 35, 40 minutes or something like that. And my brain was cooked after that game as well. Just trying to.
I love how you think that's a long round.
It is a long round. It is for me. Small Sabine player brain can't cope with longer than 20-minute games. But yeah, he was a champion. Everyone was a champion throughout the day, and I look forward to playing everyone again at the Sydney PQ.
Speaking of PQ,
same here with my games. They were good fun.
Speaking of a PQ, we'll move on to some of the PQ results. Obviously, depending on where you're listening from, you may have had your interest on more some of the local PQs. Obviously, our local PQ so far has been Melbourne. Melbourne, which was won by a Gar Yellow, very surprisingly. If you want to catch any of the games, they're all on our YouTube channel. But yeah, won by Gar Yellow against a Han Yellow. We watched Gar smoke any and every type of deck, whether it was control, aggro, restore, Tarkin Town, even a Django Green with a bit of ramp. Like, he smoked everyone out of nowhere. That was quite impressive. Good day of SWU overall. I think we were talking about it. Him dodging some of the more control matchup, like the boss blue and things like that, was probably very favorable on the day. But overall, very very good deck list, which Clint even tried after that. And I think we're going to see that deck list a little bit more in the coming weeks.
Look, I don't think even if he hit those badish matchups like Bosk Blue, I don't think they would have been super terrible, because he can still swarm and go wide. And eventually, if he just pitches in enough damage and can then recover after a super laser blast or something like that, he can probably get there. But it still is an uphill battle, just like with any aggro deck into Bosk Blue. But it was a very diverse top 8, though.
Yeah, very diverse day overall.
Little bit of everything in there.
You want to go to the next one, Clint?
Next one, yeah, we covered that one. So next one is let's go to Dunedin first. Considering Dunedin, that as man.
So
Dunedin was. Yeah, I think you've got a little bit of lag, Tebow.
Yeah, a little bit for you guys.
So Dunedin had 29 players, so it was a cut to top 4, with Quinlan Tarkentown winning, and Han Yellow, Django Tarkentown, Django Tarkentown. So not surprising with all the Tarkentown decks up there. I mean, pretty standard result for a PQ, I think. Once we move over to the New York one, it'll probably make a lot more sense as we get a little bit further into PQ season. Where have we got the New York one here? So the New York one, we're only going to focus on the New York one because I think it was one of the bigger ones this weekend, and it was quite stacked with familiar Star Wars Unlimited player names.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of Tarkentown in this one. And
so for
could
the
we
audio
be
listeners
seeing
who can't see the pictures? 1, 2, 3, 4 Tarkentown decks in the top 8. 2 Quinlan, 2 Djangos, 2 Hans, only 2 Hans, which is surprising. 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 Anakin blue, and a Kira ECL. And the final was Han green against Django Tarkentown. Both well-known players, Clint, right?
Yes. The Django Tarkentown was John Tata from the KTOD testing team, and I believe I can't remember who the first player was. I think he might go by Lego Pizza on the Discord.
Maybe.
But he's been playing. I think he's won 2 PQs with this Han Green deck now.
Nice.
So it seems to have a good matchup into the Han Yellow, as it can out-ramp it and outpace basically, so it makes DJ just
not as significant.
Yeah, not as significant. And then so it can just ramp out and then just get to its bigger things before Han can disrupt him.
I'd say what's interesting here, and TV can maybe tell us a little bit more potentially why, but it's the lack of control there. There's no control in that top 8.
Yeah, look, I think depends on matchups on the day, right? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with some of the control decks that are out there. They're quite strong. You've got your Iden Blues, which I think is probably one of my favorites. Your Bosk Blue, and then your Palp 1 Yellow is pretty popular.
Palp has been very popular lately, yeah.
Yeah. I think the prevalence... So I think Palp's dropped a little bit in prevalence, though, due to the Han Double Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, my experience with Han Double Yellow when I've played my games, obviously we've watched a lot of games, but my experience personally has been Han's less effective if you ramp quickly enough against him, because you're kind of leveling the playing field at that point, because he's got that natural ramp. If you also ramp and have a low cost leader, then you're not as impacted.
Yeah.
So Palp, you don't even need the Tech DJ combo. In Han Double Yellow, you can just do the regular DJ, and if Palp hasn't ramped, you'll prevent him by another turn, which really hurts the Palp players. Scotty's given me enough trauma with my Palp Blue deck that it was retired last set. But I think there are answers. I think a lot of the meta is shifting to have more answers to it. So like Krennic ECL, one of my favorite parts of it was being able to deal with Han a little bit better. I think there's lots of lines into it. Me personally, I didn't have enough experience with the deck to play it properly. But I had some moments where I would just ECL in a Death Trooper and kill Han on his flip turn. So I think there's a few decks that are having some answers to it, but some of those other control decks with big leaders like Palp, they're struggling a little bit more, especially with the prevalence of him. My personal opinion, I don't know, I'm not like really an expert. But then you've also got aggro's pretty strong at the minute. So if you're a control player and you get those aggro matchups before they've been weeded out by the mid-range players, you're going to have a bit of a tough time. So I need Tebow to rinse Clint so that I can rinse Tebow. It's this whole triumvirate we've got going.
The circle of life continues.
It's the only way it works, because if I verse Clint, I'm usually going to lose most of the time if he's running his nasty aggro decks against my long play control decks.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the Talking Town decks, which maybe play well into some of the control, because they play such few units. Like if they can use their Talking Town to get rid of a Charlton, that's kind of your main stoppage to a wide board aggro. And like if there was a lot of Django Talking Town in that top 8, they don't really care about your Charlton, right? They've already got 3 units in space by the time you play that Charlton. So it's only slowing down really the Django himself. So yeah, interested. Not apart from that, Kira ACL was the only control one. Is that the Han green deck that you have right here?
Yeah, it's got a couple of little spicy inclusions. The first one being the Miser Cad Bane Hostage Taker, which you'd have to play for 9, or he could play for 7 off U-Wing Reinforcement.
Yep.
And the Luke Skywalker, which you could also play for 7 off the U-Wing Reinforcement. And he's also running 3 Marauders, which can also give you a bit of ramp as well. I think it's very difficult to pull the ramp off on that. It's just a nice little bonus if you get it. But it's also great for taking out opposing Falcons as well. It's in and out of my sideboard for Sabine, depending on the meta.
Good for the Django matchup too. That goes heavy into space.
You've
got an answer,
dude. You're pretty much over by 5 with that matchup. You're not playing that 5 cost.
Hopefully, we've got something then.
Yeah, Hungry's interesting. Like, obviously, that turn 1 resupply is a massive game changer. If you can, turn 1 resupply is huge. I can see modded cohort, good to get rid of some early stuff. Yeah, I think it's the ramp. I'm looking at the list and I'm like, okay, most of these things you can. Is it better than Han Yellow? I don't know. It's less combo based, right? It's probably a little bit more stable. When Han Yellow, you need to have the combos a little bit more.
It's probably a little bit easier to pick up and play than Han Yellow is. Like you're just basically curving out in this one and just building a big wide board. You're just waiting. You're just getting to your Hans, your Lukes, your home ones, and just then like overtaking the board with those. But you're getting to them on round 5 or 6 rather than 7 or 8.
Yeah, you being able to potentially get your home one a turn early because using Hans ramp is can be massive.
But also the green ramp, like that's the whole thing, right? Like you see like Bright Hopes coming out instead of on turn 3, they're coming out on turn 2. Marauders coming out on turn 3 instead of turn 4. All those things, and yeah, you can like as much as Clint says resupply is just taking a turn off. If you can do it turn 1. Pretty bloody huge.
Interesting to see that he's still running the DJs. Obviously, you don't really want to smuggle them for their 7 costs at that point because it would cost you
9.
9.
But you've got the tech, so
that's what I mean. Yeah,
tech still makes it happen at 5 as that tech DJ.
But it's a little bit more dangerous now, obviously, because you can only smuggle it through tech. Otherwise, you can just still play it as a 3/5, which is still a good unit. But yeah, interesting to see that it's still in there, taking the risk to potentially have it. It's tech or nothing.
That's the answer as well for those Tarkin Town decks, is having a 3/5 unit. Like most of the time, you got to trade into it.
Yeah, look, I think it's just you can ramp ahead of the Han Yellow and then value trade, and then you just build a big enough board. So I can see how it's better than the Han 1 Yellow.
Speaking of Han 1 Yellow, I'm expecting to see a few of them at the Perth PQ, as well as a few of the Sabine.
That's spicy.
Oh yeah, Overwhelming Barrage.
And the sideboard. I didn't realise that.
I don't know what you'd pay that for 7. But yeah, Clint, what do you expect to see at Perth?
At Perth, I think a lot of Sabines, a lot of Hans, and it's not just green Sabines. I know Tim, there's a very good yellow Sabine player over there who's been on yellow Sabine since day 1. There's a gentleman in the middle just down here. His name is Desmond. He usually comes up with some nice little home brews that he likes to bring to these events, and usually does quite well with them as well. So he could bring something spicy, but for the most part, I think we'll just see some pretty standard meta stuff. We don't see any Django Tarkin Town in this top 8. But who knows? As I said, it's a very competitive meta over there. And I know Luke's a very, very, very good Sabine ECL player. And he is the guy to beat there.
Okay.
Basically.
Cool. Guy to beat. Lovely. We have your call now. Luke, Sabine ECL is the man to beat. Lovely. Now, post PQ. Let's talk spoilers a little bit, gentlemen, because we have plenty to go through.
Shotgun spoilers.
All right.
Leaders TV.
Let's start with what do you want to go with? Do you want to start with leaders or cards?
Whatever you got.
All right, let's go with cards first.
Let's go.
Should we go with leaders because some of the cards link into leaders?
We can do that also.
TV's coming up with the screen shares. Second.
All right. In no particular order, they're just how they were saved into the
I haven't
folder.
even read this card yet.
So Admiral Holdo, action. So we remember Admiral Holdo from the second prequel film where she runs a resistance cruiser, apologies, through a First Order fleet and kills it all. Regardless of your thoughts on that, it doesn't really matter. It's not what we're here to talk about. So leader ability, action, 1 cost and exhaust. Give a resistance unit or a unit with a resistance upgrade on it, which would account for pilots in this particular set. +2/+2 for the phase. Comes out at 6 and is a 3/8.
It's a pretty good body.
Not bad. Like 3/8 on 6. I mean, not a lot's bringing it down straight away.
It's standard.
Yeah. +2/+2 on a resistance unit. I don't know. It kind of feels like a more restricted. What's that one from this set? What Tambor? Like something's got to die to get it, so maybe not as restricted.
No, I think it's easier to pull off. It costs 1.
It costs 1, but it depends how many total resistance cards we get this set, because we didn't get a lot in the first set. I don't think we got Poe in the second set. Would we get Black 1 in the first set?
The question is with this particular card, because obviously on her flip side, she gets this for free on attack.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be paying for that in the first 5 rounds? Like, is that something you want to be doing? Because
you might because it's green.
You might because it's green and you can ramp.
You might ramp.
You can ramp.
So maybe.
I mean, you'd have to go
green, white, sparks of hope, and
I don't think it's meant to be aggro.
Well, then I'm out.
I might be wrong.
No, she's 6 cost. She's not an aggro character. Like what you're doing here is you're paying to trade efficiently with your smaller units early in the game.
Or make a Sentinel a real pest.
Sentinels.
Or making a Sentinel a real pest.
Big boys.
Yeah, sure. I mean, same diff. But you're paying the 1. But again, you're paying... I mean, I guess, let's say, for argument's sake, say you play a Battlefield Marine turn 1 for 2. Then you give the Battlefield Marine, pay 1 to give it +2/+2, so it's a 5/5, and then you play another 2 cost.
It's a more efficient way of what's that other stupid 3 cost card you play? The 3/3 body.
The Fleet Lieutenant.
Fleet Lieutenant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not really getting the action economy from it though.
No, you lose on the action economy. Yeah. That's true.
And it's not permanent. Like, at least if you were to play Huang on 3, the +2/+2 is permanent until Huang dies.
I think Tebow, you had the right call. Like, it's in ramp, so potentially you can get ahead of your curve. But most of the time, I feel when I'm playing ramp decks, like I'm not going to waste it on a 1 to pay 1 for +2/+2, unless you've got nothing else to do. Sometimes you sit with those when you're in turn 4. You don't have a 4 cost. Resource turn 4, and you don't have a 4 cost. You got a 3 cost, and you just pay the 1.
Look, it's taken me...
Could have its utility.
It's taken me 12 months to come to this opinion, and I've resisted this opinion for a long time.
Oh, here we go.
But I don't like leaders that don't give you free stuff, like where you have to take an action to do stuff.
Yep.
That's
fair. Barring Sabine, because
I was gonna say Sabine.
I was gonna say because you can use her ability to dirtle and annoy Tarkin Town players, but stuff like Krennic, stuff like Gar, where you're getting a bonus for something you're already doing, and you're not having to lose your action economy by doing it. Like, you could almost argue that Krennic is an aggro character for that very reason.
Yeah.
And this Holdo just doesn't cut it for me now. Like, the standard is, all right, do you give me something for free? If not, sorry, I don't. It's probably not good enough.
I think you're right. Through the lens of, say, a constructed deck, but it could have a bit of utility in draft for this set. Given that we think there probably should be a lot more resistance, you would 100%. Think So, maybe it sits there.
And the only reason I've come to that conclusion is because of Obi.
All right, we have a lot of spoilers to go through, so
let's click through. Next one, Lando.
I haven't even read this one.
So, action 1 cost exhaust. Play a unit from your hand, paying its cost. If you do, and you control a ground unit and a space unit, give a shield token to a unit. So this guy can deploy as a leader, they should all deploy as leaders, as a pilot.
It sounds okay. Sounds alright.
Yeah,
doable in blue white hero. The one cost is a bit annoying, but
yeah.
Oh my god, it's so conditional though.
Can you give me his flip?
If you do, and you control a ground unit and a space unit.
So it's a 5/7 Sentinel as a unit.
Just for a shield.
Pretty good.
But also a 5/5 in space.
7 cost though.
As a pilot.
7 cost is expensive. 5/5 in space.
And you really have to pair him with red.
Actually. Can you give me his other side? Come back. Yeah,
nah.
It's not necessarily in space though. It's just a pilot, just a vehicle unit.
Yeah. Like leaders can deploy onto ground vehicles, like that's fine. But it's just if you play a unit from your hand, if you do, and you control a ground unit and a space unit, like you might as well just play Luke.
I feel like if you're playing these stats, you might as well play Chewie. You wouldn't, but you could.
You're right about Luke though. You're better off.
I mean, Luke's a better blue-white leader,
and he's on 6
most of the time.
He's a 4/7,
and you can choose who to give the shield to. Like,
yeah,
it's a little bit different because you've got the action economy with this one, but then you're coming out a turn later.
It's a little less restrictive than Luke because Luke on his leader side, you can only do it on a unit you played this turn, so you're sort of forced to play under your curve.
Yeah.
I mean, you still are this time as well, but you can react to units you played in previous turns if you meet the rest of the criteria.
But this is super restrictive. You need it in both ground and space.
You've got to have it in both. And then when it deploys, if you deploy to space, you can give a shield token to a ground unit. If you deploy to ground, you can give a shield token to a space unit. That's a one-off thing.
It might be good in draft, but I mean, every time we've been playing a lot of draft, and every time someone gets a 7 or 8 cost leader or whatever, you just get blown out by everyone else as well.
Oh, for sure.
All right, moving on.
Next one.
Great. All right, Pete. Pete is, in my opinion,
now this is spicy.
Best leader. We've thrown, but so far the best leader we've seen. I think it's so strong. So action taps. It's a free action.
Yeah.
Play a capital ship unit from your hand. It costs 1 less.
Yep.
There's no downside.
Are there any capital ships that cost less than like 8?
Yes.
Yeah. You've got the I think the Ruthless Raider might from memory.
Is that a capital ship?
The Gladiator one, which is the green one, which gives Sentinel.
Okay, that's like 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But you're not going to be able to use it until
Ruthless is a capital ship.
Ruthless Raider. So you can play Ruthless Raider on 5.
Capital ship. Okay.
It's always a good time.
So you can play it on 5. Yeah, like that new one that can ramp is relatively cheap. I think it's a 6 cost, I think. And on his leader side, on unit side, same thing. Passively, so you don't have to attack, which is really important because I don't even know that you want to attack with him. You want him to survive. He's a 2/7. You don't ever care about attacking for 2. But each capital ship you play costs 2 less.
If you ramp and you can play blue, black, green, I'm playing Avengers for 7,
this
baby.
This thing is going to be a menace.
Huge.
It's massive. I think there's going to be a big problem for control. Like, especially control, a lot of the control decks don't even care about what their leaders do. Right? That's the perfect leader for that. Well, not too much.
I was going to say, it's a big goal. You can lose your leader in a control deck and still be okay. Like Bosk Blue, you want Bosk to live because you want to claim those bounties twice. But if he does die, your deck still does some pretty heinous shit.
Yes.
Same with Palp. Like, you just want to flip him and take the damage thing.
And then he can die.
Like,
7's, if he dies, he dies.
7's not easy to take out on 5 either, especially if you ramp and come out on 4.
Yeah. Very difficult.
Sorry, 3.
So you'd think he will at least get 1 ship out with this, and then that's going to be really hard to come back. from that.
But even the leader ability after the fact, or even before the fact, if you wanted to wait and flip him on turn 7 and play an Avenger at turn 7, like,
yeah,
it's not a lot that some decks have to answer playing an Avenger on 7.
You're going to have to play blue. The only thing that can kill that is blue removal.
Yep. Oh, yeah, or you outspeed aggro him, but I think that's going to be a really good, really, really good leader.
Yeah. Definitely.
Actually, just going back to that, though, I wonder what that's going to be like in draft. Like, how many... We are getting a few capital things,
There's quite a few more, yeah. And I mean, you got to think as well, like, you can... like, if it's costing 2
I can see the disgusting look on your face already, Tebow, in draft.
Just think, if you play this in draft, yellow, green, black, you pull a home 1, you're not playing the out of aspect fee is paid for with this.
Yeah,
so you can play it.
Get out of here.
No, sounds like a good time. It's going to be top tier. All right, moving on to a less good leader, the little punk Rio Durant. I mean,
why is this guy a leader?
Come on, we're not going to be that
podcast. Why is this guy a leader?
You attack with a space unit, and it gets +1/+0 and gains Saboteur. It wants to be aggro. You want to bypass the Sentinels. It's only with space units. Meh. It's a 3/5 on 5.
I think the space unit restriction is a bit...
Who plays this instead of Django?
Especially... Yeah, no.
I mean, again, you're going to have to play a below curve. I mean... What does he come out on? 5, and he's a pilot?
5. I mean, he has Saboteur and...
I mean, 3/5 stats is not bad to, like... And you've... Transport? What good transports do we have?
3/5, that's as good as Cassian Endor that I got and that I get in 3 costs.
Yeah, but Chirrut has 3/5.
Yeah, but Chirrut doesn't die.
Well, he dies to a lot of things now.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. Look,
I don't know. It may be a good draft. Probably a good draft.
There might be something that we don't see, for sure.
Easy to play in draft? Good, I don't know.
The transport thing's a bit of a weird restriction, but I guess that's the ship that he pilots in solo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Draft, probably. Not constructed playable.
We'll push along. Get some top tier ones back in.
Not constructed playable. Move on.
That's Rose. Heal 2 damage from a vehicle. You need that attack this phase.
Like...
Yeah.
This is as bad as Finn. Well, she heals.
But a 4/6 that comes out at 5.
What does she do on the flip side?
On attack, heal 2 damage from a vehicle unit. Not as restrictive though. And a 4/5 body.
Yes.
At 5 is not nothing.
Scott will make it work.
If anyone can. Have you played against his Finn deck?
No, I've not yet. I've heard about it.
It's just do it. Everyone's got to do it at least once.
It's okay. It's okay. It's great draft card.
It'd be a fine draft leader. I know we've got to stop looking at things from a constructed point of view because that's primary. Well, it's not primarily what we play, but the primary thing that we care about. But
Speak for yourself,
like fun and draft, but I don't think you're really going to be playing this in constructed.
All right, next.
Ooh, the big boy.
Big boy. Now we're talking.
We'll turn that bit around. This is definitely something that we will be playing.
This
in
is
constructed.
Also, Thrawn is also going to run a train through people, and people are going to lose here.
When you use a when to heal ability, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, use that ability again.
I think we should have put a not safe for work warning before we got to this particular leader for the listeners at home, because this is sexy.
If you're happening to be listening to your families.
All my days.
Turn it off.
just turn it off now. This is going to be good.
He's good.
We are seeing a lot. I think there's been a couple of spoilers that have a lot more when defeated abilities. There's already quite a few really good, like, staple blue black cards with when defeated abilities. Like, I'm thinking Inferno 4. Still a great card. So deck teching twice when it gets defeated. Awesome. So you're doing it 3 times for the cost of a 2-cost 2/3 unit. It's pretty nice. And then on the flip, just get it again as passive.
Well, there's a lot of great cards that are coming out that work with Thrawn as well. Especially the new Krennic one as well. I think the Krennic is probably the star of the spoiler season so far.
It's going to be a great constructed card
that he has.
Great constructed card. Like if you're thinking these colors, like Inferno 4 is really good. I mean, you can play it in. God forbid you play it in red. Imagine double taking the defeated ability of a Ruthless Raider. Like that's nasty.
So what
huge.
color? So what color do you play this with, Tivi? Red?
Oh, I mean, look.
Or would you go double blue?
I don't know about double blue. I mean, look, my default's always going to be green because I love blue, green, black.
Well, what's its game plan? Like, how is Thrawn winning games with this ability, with this win, being able to trigger them twice?
Gives him a lot of utility that you could tailor a few different decks to just get the tech of it. Like the Ruthless Raider, I honestly hadn't even thought about the Ruthless Raider, but that's 6 damage to base. Pretty much guaranteed, and then 6 damage to units as well. So, I mean, blue, red, black's not awful. Not at all. In terms of game plan, I'm never the best person to talk about that.
And the more disgusting thing is that if you've got Krennic on board, you can pay 5.
And that's a huge thing.
For the Ruthless Raider as well.
Let's just look. Director Krennic, shielded 2-cost 2/2. And the first unit you play each round that has a when defeated ability costs 1 less. That's pretty good. And I think it plays into the wheelhouse of a lot of those control decks. Like, you can't just leave them on the board. So you're forcing your opponent, especially like aggro players such as yourself. You can't really afford to leave things like that particular Krennic on the field. You can't leave things like Dr. Pershing's on the field or clients on the field. There's just so much good utility in blue-black that you kind of have to adjust, because if you're letting these things happen, you're just giving me all the options to be able to eventually stabilize and take you down. You've got the amazing things in blue-black. You've got the awesome removal package. Merciless Contest. No problem doing that to my own stuff now, especially on a when defeated unit.
You've also got the new Onyx Quadrant Brute. When defeated, heals 2 damage from a base. Like, it's a 2-cost 2/3. This plus the Inferno 4. Like, you got some great early ships that you don't mind dying, because you can, like, this you heal 2 from base, so you can heal 4. Like against aggro, that's awesome. Like, as your first, like, it's your 1-cost unit, you can heal 4 like whenever. That's awesome.
The new Fleet Interdictor, it's a 7-cost. It's a 6/6 Sentinel. That's when defeated, you may defeat a space unit that costs 3 or less.
Ooh.
So you're claiming that twice, like just clearing boards. So yeah, look, I think there's going to be a lot of utility around this Thrawn deck, and being in blue-black, it's just going to be a good time for everybody.
I wouldn't say everybody.
I'm looking at this first order.
Every degenerate like me.
One of the new cards as well. Like, it's red-black 2/1 on attack, and when defeated, deal 1 indirect damage to a player. So you can do 3 indirect damage to the player for 1 cost. Like, that's pretty good. I think you can play Thrawn a little aggressive even if you want.
Is Thrawn actually an aggro card?
It could be.
No, seriously. Like, I'm not just saying that just to try and convince myself to play Thrawn.
Same thing with the Omseri Officer. 2 damage to a base on defeated. That's 4 damage to a base for a 2-cost.
The new card, it's blue, just blue, 2-cost 2/2. When defeated, you may give a unit -1/-1 for this phase. So you claim that twice. You give it -2/-2. can clear a unit.
I think Piet keeps this in check.
Potentially, yeah.
Possibly.
I think he can just probably outramp him a little bit and just get a bigger board and blow him off the board with bigger capital ships. If I think about it.
Yeah.
Man, again, Admiral Mori. When defeated, you may ready a villainy unit. If you have some stuff to kill your own units, like you have 2 units already ready them. Like I think you can play him a little aggro. Surprisingly, obviously we're thinking control straight away, but
so the black 4-cost, it's a 3/4 shuttle ST-149. It's a shielded unit. When played and when defeated, you may take control of a token upgrade on a unit and attach it to a different eligible unit.
Token upgrade is potentially hard to...
Shields
and XP.
Oh, that's what you mean by token upgrade. Because there are some upgrades that only go on tokens.
No.
Like
So it's basically just saying shields and XP, and it's probably future-proofing itself if there are any sort of other token upgrades that they bring out as well.
Yeah, interesting. But like, I mean, it's good against okay, wing leader. I'm not going to say Sabine because I'm probably going to die in that matchup pretty quickly anyway. But a Childson immediately reducing a Sentinel Childson, and because it's when played, you do it when it's played, and then defeated, do it again, but twice with Thrawn, so 3 times in total for the life of it.
Yeah.
A lot of these when played, when defeated things, getting a lot of good utility in blue-black.
It's I don't know what it is about FFG and the villainy aspect. Like, this is a common theme throughout FFG games where villainy is just overpowers heroic, and heroic always has a tough time finding its way into the meta because heroic is, as an attribute, is typically more defensive, whereas villainy is, as an aspect, is more aggressive. And the power balance, and this was in Destiny as well, the power balance with villainy cards far outweighed the power balance with the heroic cards and the shields that you got and all that sort of stuff.
Villainy more aggressive. I didn't realize Sabine was villainy.
Yeah, Sabine,
Did I miss that?
Look at the Sabine player moaning about aggressive villainy cards. Yeah, okay, let's all have a laugh.
Shame him.
Flame him in the chat, guys. We expect it. He expects it. He knows it's coming.
Do you have any more Leaders TV?
That is the last leader so far.
You want to do a couple cards? I don't think we'll do all the cards because otherwise the episode's going to be a bit long.
We've talked about the Krennic.
We've done a couple of cards. How about we just do the last 2? I think are probably going to be the ones that I think we should enjoy talking about the most. The 2 new rare bases.
Hey. Ooh, yes, that's awesome. Okay, Colossus.
So
35 health.
Oh,
big boy.
That's a big boy.
But you draw 1 less card in your starting hand. Do you care?
Oh, do you know? Not really. Look, differing opinions of this. I've been talking about this for a little while since they spoiled this card. And, a Palp player at heart, and in blue-black, like, you got your Pershings. If you go Palp, you've got a lot of options to draw cards to make up for that. And I think 5 health is pretty huge when you're running into these aggro decks that just... I mean, especially in Palp 1, for the first 2 sets, like, there were times in games against our friend Clint here where I'm hanging on the thread by like 1 or 2 health at 30, and sometimes it's just, most of the time I'm losing it. Some of the times I'm just clawing it back and managing to heal and remove and stabilize and wipe the board. But this kind of puts it that little bit further out of reach, all for the cost of 1 card. I can see the balance that sometimes people will say 5 health is not worth 1 card, but I don't know.
I'm not going to ask you, Clint, because you're not going to play this. But
you only play it in Palp.
I don't agree. I think in an Anakin deck, Anakin Blue, I think it's pretty good. Makes me a little bit more comfortable about using my trade up, like Berserker kind of ability. gives me more. If you don't kill the Anakin, it's more range that I can go and grab some damage. And Anakin has so much restore.
Yeah, but I don't know. How close are your games really? How close are your games really? The ones that you lose, like you either blow someone out or they blow you out. Like you're never really getting to within.
No,
like if someone can take care of.
My game against Blake the other day was really close. I think it was like a one action thing.
Yeah, but I think if you need a 35 health point base for a mid range deck, you probably just need to get better.
Potentially, I just don't think it's
no. And I'm not saying that. I'm somewhat saying it facetiously, but I think 30 is plenty for a mid range deck, and I don't think your games are ever going to get, for the most part, that close where you need I need 35 points, but I'm going to sacrifice. Because all it takes is for another red deck to come in and pillage you or force through you, and then you're down another card, or you're down another 2 cards, and then you're top decking by round 4.
Absolutely, and I think that's that's why I think my opinion sits on it. You need to be sure of the draw ability. So like in Palp, you don't mind it. Like I'm sacking units all the time. Like I'm playing an Inferno 4 or I'm playing a Pershing and getting draw anyway. Like it's definitely, I don't know. I don't have enough experience long term in other TCGs to know what this, represents in other games. The way I see it is yes, Palp, control, Palp, having the draw, being able to not worry that I'm at 28 health. I probably got another turn in me to be able to stabilize that. It definitely feels safer, for sure. But I can see the other point you're making, though, too. But I think the pillage and the force throws will come in handy against people who use this base. Absolutely.
What's the second base, the red?
The red one, the thermal oscillator, 27, and your minimum deck size is decreased by 5 cards for only 3 health. It's a little bit spicy also on the opposite end, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. I get it, obviously, if you decrease your
I think you had the same size. You had the same gut reaction for me, though, when you saw it, though, right? Like Kylo double red.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
I think it kind of makes sense, but I think I don't remember if it was you or Clint in the conversation we were having earlier, that most of the cards in your Kylo double red deck, they're all fire. Like, they're all great cards. But some of them do perform better than the others. And so to be able to get to them quicker for only the cost of 3 health is quite nice. Personally, I just don't know. I still kind of think Tarkin Town's better.
I think Tarkin Town's better, but it's 2 less health. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gaining some percentages on pulling the cards that you want, but very small percentages.
I can't even think of 5 cards I'd take out of my Kylo double red deck immediately. Like, I'm like, oh, they're dead cards. I need to get rid of them anyway. There's not really an immediate 5 that come to mind. There probably are if I play some more, if I haven't played it in a week and a half. So
yeah, same. Like sometimes, like I struggle more to take out cards to make my 50 than be like, oh damn, I need 2 more cards. 5? What am I gonna put? Yeah, that's just I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it probably goes in an aggro deck.
Oh yeah.
If you're just wanting to see, like, I don't know, maybe it goes in a mid range where you want to see some top end cards faster. Like,
unless it's like some spicy decks like Afra
to see your bomb.
Like I was saying, unless maybe it's like stuff like Afra, where you want to be sure that you get those stuff that you want to discard to play them again, where you kind of play with a second hand when you play with your discard, stuff like that maybe, but that's I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know where you put it at the moment. The only thing I can see is that it goes in a mid range where you just get to your bombs faster.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a deck builder. I've said many times I'm not a savant of deck building, so That's my first place I'd probably go, but someone better at deck building than me can probably figure that one out.
I know. I feel like with both these bases, we've all had opinions, and we're just going to get flamed in the comment section because we are just idiots. I'm the same. I do not know how to build a deck.
I'm going to get cancelled for telling Tebow to get good.
I do need to get good. But that should do it for today, gentlemen. We spoke about plenty. The episode's long already. But that was good conversation. Spoke about plenty of things. There's plenty more to come. There's going to be more spoilers. I'm not sure when our next episode will be. Maybe after the Perth PQ, so we can have that event to debrief, or maybe after our event / Sydney PQ, when we'll have even more to debrief. We'll have 2 events then. But anything else, gentlemen?
Just quickly, I think we should talk a little bit. We've sold out for our event.
Yep.
So that's good-ish news. If you haven't got your ticket, we are sorry. But look, a couple of people have already messaged us on the Facebook. So if things do change, we will let you know. Obviously, if we get people that drop out and things like that, can't make any promises. We do have the Sydney PQ coming up in a couple of weeks, being held at Mega Games in Penrith. So make sure you register for that. You can contact them directly via Facebook, you give them a call, and you can register there.
Yeah. And we're going to a showdown this weekend. What's everyone playing? I know everyone's undecided, so I'm putting you all on the spot. But
you just had to, didn't you?
Yeah. I really want to play. I think I want to play a Hondo or a Bosk. I think.
Play Bosk Yellow. There's a challenge for you. Because I really don't want to see Bosk Blue or Bosk Green.
I've already won my showdown, so I'm just playing for the boys now.
Tivi, you can take Krennic?
Look, I did enjoy Krennic, I must say. I need to play it more, though, I think. Which I know this is an opportunity to play it more. But I'm going to be quite limited in the amount of showdowns that I go to. This might be my only one. And I don't really want to buy promos, so I might play something I'm a bit more comfortable with, like the Kylo Double Red.
Okay, all right.
Maybe I'll play Krennic. I did like the deck.
Maybe I'll play Krennic.
Maybe I'll try it.
Maybe we'll all play Krennic.
Now everyone's going to play Krennic. I have one good weekend.
Look, you convinced me he's an aggro character, so he's in my warehouse now.
Yeah. An aggro character with some restore.
Oh. He's not interested. That doesn't interest him.
I did play that Sabine blue deck with restore in it once upon a time.
Did it have restore? All
it had Yoda. No, that was my Sabine Mando one in set 1.
It had Yoda.
In set 1.
Set 1 because you had the Armorer, which was from set 2.
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying to me. In set 1, I played a Sabine blue with lightsabers.
Okay,
that's it.
Anyway,
that's the restore.
What did I come in the end? I can't remember. Boba Yellow for me, I think.
Boba Yellow?
Hero.
Boba Hero.
Boba Yellow.
He's not going to come to the PQ just to get disqualified immediately as soon as he walks through the door.
You can't disqualify me.
Gentlemen, great episode. We'll wrap it up here. We will catch you guys probably. Perth PQ will be the next time you hear our voices. Or maybe this weekend, actually. Maybe this weekend at the showdown. We're going down. So we might bring the cameras, might set up, we might stream top table.
Do a dry run.
Whatever table we're on. We'll see. But that's it.
It's a fitting
Bye, guys.
sound
And remember,
to end it.
fitting sound to end it. They're coming for me. And remember, as always, good soldiers, full orbs.
Deuces.
Bye, guys.